We're live.
Rebuild of the favorites. We here for the latest. South side or the north side. Not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams. Both sides got our own rings. On the mound or the long ball. But we don't put the wrong strings. Yeah. It's that time of the year now. Wrigley or guarantee, so the whole league that we here now. New show with a new mood. Discussions and interviews. Trade rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and Knife.
What's going on, everybody? This is Pinwheels and Ivy. We are just doing the tweets now. And then we'll do it live. Thank God, Herb, on Twitter now, I can just type in your name instead of trying to figure out what your Twitter handle is because I always forget it. And so I can just start typing in Herb and it comes up. So that's good. Shout out to whoever runs Twitter now. All right. I think I did everything right.
I see us.
Yeah, I see
it's
us.
Me.
Yeah, it's weird, right? All right. Let's do this. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, March 31st, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zwoski, a.k.a. Southside Zo, a.k.a. Father Zo, and with me, as always, is the good Reverend K. Fidds.
I got a week till spring break, and I'm wearing flip-flops in my brain already. So we're doing the hang loose sign a lot today.
You had a lot of visitors this week, bud, so I'm just happy you're alive. And as you noticed, I don't know if this might shock some of you, but that is not Aldo Soto.
A little darker, a little darker.
A little bigger, a little more tan. That is Mr. Herb Lawrence. You know him as the co-host of the CHGO White Sox show, former of 670 The Score, former co-host of Locked On Sox. He is a Wheaton North Falcon. I won't hold that against him. Good buddy of mine. I've known Herb for years, man. I'm so happy to have you on the show. You can follow him on Twitter at ECNERWAL23, or if you're like me, just start typing in Herb and it'll pop up. Herb, thank you so much for joining us, bud.
Thank you guys for having me. And that is just Lawrence spelled backwards. So if you know how to spell Lawrence, spell it backwards, guys. Ecknerwall, that's how it's pronounced. 2-3-4, the greatest third baseman the White Sox have had in the last 25 years. Mr. Robin Ventura. I'm doing great, guys. This is awesome to be back on Pinwheels and Ivy.
Yeah,
and
man.
As I said, I think before, that intro song is undefeated.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, it's one of the things there's a lot of things about this show I'm very proud of, but I'm very proud of that show because it is made, produced, and written, and the vocals are all from a dude I went to Rita with. So, little local.
And I saw that you said when Wheaton North Falcon, you said it incorrectly. Wheaton North Falcon, 7A football champions of Illinois.
They beat Rita.
Goddamn right they did.
Oh, that stings a little. It's all right. It could be worse.
That's our fourth.
It could be worse. You could be a Lake Park grad instead. What? Oh.
It could be worse. You could have went to Brother Rice.
Suburbs.
What's up, Sean?
Hey,
anyway.
I had to school him, and I told him that Rita guys, the most famous Rita guy who was a White Sox is, of course, Edward Farmer.
Yep.
And he would shout out St. Rita all the time. I never heard him talk about Brother Rice in a good way.
No, Ed was not a big fan. I actually know one of my really good buddies married one of Ed's nieces, and he was a good dude, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Alex, Rita is about to have a basketball dynasty. You are correct in that, sir. Like Alex, please join us in the comment section if you are watching us live. We definitely pay attention to it. We will answer questions as they become relevant or as they pop up. We have a great show. Obviously, we got Herb here, and we're going to talk about what's going on with Herb right now. We got the White Sox upcoming season. We got weird gatekeeping. We got a lot of things to talk about. So with all that being said, let's tap this keg. If you missed the first couple shows, this show is brought to you by the Chicago Golf Tour. Amateur golf for the common man, built by the common man. They have a north side tour, south side tour, east side tour. You have to make sure, I'm sorry, west side tour. They don't have the east side tour. Make sure that you are signing up using promo code SM25 to get $25 off. You can find them at shygolftour.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are any level of golfer, and you're looking for a way to be a little bit more competitive, and especially as we get older, the opportunity to get competitive in sports gets a little smaller and smaller every year. This is a great way to do it. You play on these events on your time. They give you a 2-week window. You just have to play with someone else from the tour. It's a great way to meet new golfers in the area. You submit your scores. Everything's online. They have 6 regular events, 4 majors, a playoff, and a championship. Great prizes, great atmosphere. Made by Chicagoans for Chicagoans. The Chicago Golf Tour, shygolftour.com, promo code SM25. And yes, I think I can confirm it now. I will be participating this year. So if you join up, maybe we'll play. I don't know. I'm going to play in weird times because I play on like Tuesday afternoons. So hopefully you're free. But other than that, Herb, I just want to dive right into it. My guy, you have been very busy lately. As most Chicago sports fans are aware, you guys did a fantastic job marketing too. The build up to this thing was incredible. All of a sudden, all these different personalities from all these different sports started tweeting. And I was like, I told Fidds and Waldo, I was like, dude, something big's coming. I don't know what the hell's going on. I knew you were involved. And I knew like Mario on the Hawk side and that ugly dude Jay and like some of these other people started tweeting this stuff out. And I was just like, okay, they got something cooking. And then just the names just kept coming and coming. Janice and all these other people. I was like, this is going to be really cool. So CHGO, do you guys have a way better way to say it? Because I feel like saying all 4 letters is a little bit of a mouthful. Do you guys call it anything yet?
That is exactly what we call it, CHGO. It's a subsidiary of DNVR, which was started by Brandon Spano back in the day, a couple of years ago. And it did so well that he expanded to Phoenix, which is PHNX. It's weird. 4-letter, it's like a kind of a call letters. So CHGO.
Spelling.
Huh?
Got a penchant for spelling.
Yeah, and so CHGO is a brainchild of him. He said that this was his biggest market, of course, and he wasn't going to go to a bigger market than this. And he wanted to see how Chicago would feel because he saw that Denver and Phoenix really were feeling it. And it's not about like coming in and taking over. It's about coming in and building community. Like we want to, as you guys know, like when we go to Lot B, all that chirping that happens on Twitter, it's over. And if it is, it's settled there, and we're still talking. We're like gentlemen and ladies out there, and that's what we want to do. We want to just be part of the Chicago sports landscape, not trying to come in as bullies or anything like that. Or we want to just have, hey, these are people who have been doing things at different markets or different jobs, and now they're coming together for this, which is a podcast / YouTube channel. And then also we have written content by our guy on CHGO White Sox. It's Vinny Duber, formerly of NBC Sports Chicago, and then Sean Anderson, who is the host of our podcast. So Sean and I will be doing pre and post for each White Sox game Sunday through Thursday. And if there's a Cubs game on a Friday, we'll do a special one there. And then Vinny will be at every home game for the White Sox, and then he'll be at opening day on the 8th. And then also the second game on the 9th. So it's really a good mixture of youth with Sean, knowledge, 25-year-old kid. Vinny is a professional. He's a journalist. He checks us sometimes when we get too much fanny, which is my problem. I try to, be a fan too much. And so I'm there as they call me the beat leader or the community leader. I mean, I was called a beat leader back in high school, but that was a different thing. This is more of like, I've been wanting to do something like this. I did Locked on Sox, and that was only really in the podcast form. So the audio, I wasn't, 100% jumping to YouTube because, I'm a good looking cat, but I don't want people to see me sweating like I am right now. God damn, I'm sweating a lot. It's hot in the house. So like the YouTube / podcast aspect really spoke to me about talking about the White Sox 5 days a week, which I did with Locked On with Chris Tannehill. But this is just like to the nth degree, like the equipment they gave us, all Shure mics, the cameras behind there are great. They have a producer every day, Stephen Nicholas, is our guy. It's awesome. We barely have to do anything but talk about the White Sox every single day for an hour. It's the easiest job in the world. Like somebody blessed me with that job, and I can't thank him enough.
No, and I really think you guys did it right. You have a great combination of personalities where, you have the podcast guys, the guys that kind of do what we do and all that, and then you mix it with some good insiders and journalists, and like Vinny's one of the best out there, with an 80 grade mustache, by the way. And
Always.
yep. And it's not just for the White Sox. I mean, every Chicago sports team is covered, and I'm very pumped you guys got the Sky too. You got to represent for the current champs. And yeah, I think it's awesome, man. I wanted to lead off the show with it so you can, let everybody know where to find you also, but also just as a friend, just to say congratulations, man. I think it's really cool.
I appreciate it. And like the people that came over, like when the person who called me, Brandon Soprano, called me like in end of January asking me about this, I was like, yes, I'm in. Mm-hmm. Not knowing who else was around. Like I knew the White Sox people, but I did not know like the Bears. And when Olin signed and Adam Hogue came on that Monday, crazy. And then we got your cousin Jay Zawoski to come, mostly because Odyssey's I don't want to say it, but Jay being 5 days a week with the Blackhawks, joining Greg Boyson and Mario Tarabasi is just awesome, just like the best. And like you said, the Sky are the reigning champions with Janice Scurio and Sabrio Whitaker covering them right now 1 day a week on Mondays at 5:30. But when the season starts and they got some games, I think they're going to increase their times where they're covering the Sky. So it's just so awesome. Mm-hmm. I think we'll have Red Stars, we'll have Fire, and maybe we'll have the Wolves. They get to the Calder Cup or something like that.
There we go. Cover them all though. But no, I really like the great. And one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to with it is it's not a major corporation. Mm-hmm. And with it not being a major corporation, I feel like you guys are going to be able to really show your little bit unhinged personality. You know what I mean? You could be more yourselves. And I think it's going to be really cool to see, especially Olin. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to Olin Kreutz not being under, a CBS thumb or anything like that. But even guys like Vinny, he can be a little bit more unbuttoned. And I'm really looking forward to seeing those true personalities kind of shine through.
Yeah. And I thought, NBC Sports Chicago, they're run by the White Sox. Jerry has, I think, 66% of the stake there as far as teams there. It's him and the Blackhawks. So I was thinking, preconceived, prejudice. Hey, this guy's going to be buttoned down. He's going to be camping for the White Sox. He's going to be out here doing White Sox business. But no, Vinny is just a professional. That's what he is. Like, he does his work. He's a journalist. And he can go on one side and go on the other side. He's not going to fly off the handle like me. You tune in so you can hear things like, Teflon Han, things like that. And it's not necessarily because of him. It's because of the treatment of Rick Hahn. Even after this offseason we've had, and I'm sure we'll get to it, people are like, Jerry, so cheap. I'm like, Teflon Han lives again. No one gives a lot of people are giving him blame now, but some people are still out there like, no, it's not Rick's fault. Come on. But so, yeah, we have some people like Sean Anderson, man. I worked with him at the Score, so I knew what he was about. But him and Vinny have both exceeded expectations in these first 3 weeks that we've done this, and I cannot wait until games start.
No, we were very excited about that. And on that note, we are a week away-ish from Major League Baseball finally getting started after all the bullshit with the lockout and all that other just garbage. We're here. This is where guys like us needed to be. This is it. We're a week away from the baseball season, and I couldn't be more excited. And, with the baseball season coming up, this is when I feel like fans are either overly optimistic or overly, it's weird to find people in the middle. And I've definitely fallen victim to it too. I went down the negativeville for a little bit. That's not me. So I switched the gears to, I had a moment, and this is where I'm going with this, about, I think it was 2 days ago, where everybody on Twitter is just crying about the right field situation. And we're just all beating it, beating that dead horse. And yeah,
you're all what?
Shut up. I shut up. I knew it as soon as I stopped saying it. Thank God Aldo's not here, because he would have clipped it.
Aldo, when you're listening to this one.
God Bless it.
I tell you, avoid
anyways, everybody's beating the dead horse of this whole right field situation, which we don't even know. What if Adolfo comes out and he's healthy all year? We're going to get to that in just a minute. But anyways, I had this moment where I took a step back and I was like, the White Sox have a potential all-star at 6 positions right now. 6 starting positions. So you go Robert, Aloy, Moncada, TA, Abreu, Grandal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 out of their 5 starters are solidified.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got Giolito, who looks like an absolute wagon right now. Cease came out against the Rangers on Wednesday through a gem. And then the homie Lance Lynn. And then that's not even knowing you're gonna get out of Michael Kopech. And then that 5th starter is the gigantic question mark. Depth, not exactly our best friend. But that's a team you can get behind, man. You know, like I would have killed for this team, 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have physically hurt someone to have this optimism going into a season. And it just hit me that I can't just keep dwelling on this right field thing. I just need to move on, and this is going to be a good team. So the question I want to ask you, Herb, is as we stand a week away from opening day, where are you at with this White Sox team?
I'm resigned to the fact that they're not going to get a right fielder, and the right field position they have right now, like I've been saying, is fine. Like they'll be slightly above average. Andrew Vaughn, how they believe in Andrew Vaughn is slightly how they believe in Luis Robert. They really love Andrew Vaughn. They know he's going to hit. They don't think he's going to hit. They know it. And their confidence gives me confidence. Then you have Gavin Sheets. If you're doing a full platoon right there with righty lefty, one of them is going to be playing the right field. The other one's going to probably be playing designated hitter with Adam Engel into the mix right there, and a couple Leary starts too. But I'm resigned to the fact that they're going to not sign Michael Conforto. And then news broke right before we started this that he got injured somehow, his shoulder in January. So he didn't want to engage in free agent conversation until that was healed all the way. So,
which, by the way, is proof that even real right fielders dive and sometimes get banged up.
Good point. And so you're moving on to the next thing tells me that the name Father Zo is not just a thing that you have a child. You are Father Zo to the Sox community, White Sox community. Hey, kids. Hey. Yes, we messed up, but it's time to move on. We got a real good ass team. So calm your asses down. And yes, the only thing is the White Sox fans are kind of like holding Rick Hahn's words against him, saying that we're going to compete for multiple championships. And he could have been just saying, to give him plausible deniability, multiple championships is AL Central championships. So if they win one this year, they'll have multiple championships.
True.
But then he said, talk to me after the parade. You don't do parades after a AL Central championship. You only do them for one thing. For that World Series. And so we're holding him to that. Like you said, if any team goes to the playoffs year after year after year, that is a successful team. Any team at all. When Cub fans, and I know you're K-Fidds, you know this by heart, 5 out of 6 years, and this is a failure. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Cubs, and yes, they didn't sign those guys back, but that is the golden era of Cubs baseball.
Absolutely.
And it was a great ride. And yes, you had the championship in year 2 instead of year 6, but still a championship.
Winning a World Series is hard.
Very fucking hard. And if the White Sox don't win one, I think in our heart of hearts, it won't be a failure. But if we're taking Rick Hahn's words against him, we will say, like I think most White Sox fans say, we didn't win a championship with those guys. Failure. But we can go to the playoffs like 6 years in a row. And I don't know how that can be a failure, but Rick put himself behind the 8 ball with those words he did. He should come out and say, hey, man, the playoffs now are harder as hell. They got an extra 2 teams in there. So if we ever win a World Series, you fuckers better bow down to me. This shit is hard.
You think he's Teflon Han now? Oh, buddy. If he makes a World Series, ain't nobody gonna tell him
be walking on water.
Nothing. And one of the other phrases that he said, and a great follow on Twitter is Patrick Nolan, Sox Machine _P Knowles. He broke this down, and so I'm definitely ripping his tweet right now. So if you've listened to this show before, I definitely didn't do this math. Is when Haas said the money will be spent. And since he said that, this is how the Bryce Harper money was spent. 2019, $30 million separated between Ivan Nova, Yonder Alonso, Kelvin Herrera, and John Jay. 2020, $26 million spent between Encarnacion, Herrera, and Mazzara. 2021, $26 million spread between Liam Hendricks, Lance Lynn, and Adam Eaton. That
worked out.
That was a good year. And then 2022, the next $26 million, Craig Kimbrell, Joe Kelly, and Kendall Graveman. So jury's out on 2022. You can say 2019 and 2020 were significant misses. And I think that's where some of the
Patrick didn't put in there, and he wanted to put the money there, is Grandal was signed in 19, I believe.
Correct.
So, I mean, It's not just part of the money that was spent. And people keep on asking them, was the money spent? Yeah, the money was spent. I just think it was spent incorrectly. Mm-hmm. I think the number was like 27% of the White Sox roster is on the relief pitchers right now.
Yes.
It's tough, real tough. Yeah. And I don't know if anybody's close. Like Tampa Bay, I think they spend like 5% on their relief pitchers. And once a relief pitcher gets really good, get off my team, because we got another guy that we've had in our pitch lab, and now he's good. Mm-hmm. Like Chagra or whatever the fuck that guy's name is, or whatever. They just bring a new guy in, and he's great. So it's Rick's way. Rick wants this to happen, and maybe Tony's got some influence on this, where I guess you have question marks at 4 and 5 starter. You're going to need bullpen people to pick them up during these bad starts. And if Michael Kopech just might run into a pitch count. So that might be his thought process there. But that's a lot of money. And Joe Kelly won't even be pitching the first couple games with the White Sox. So I don't know. I'm just disappointed in the offseason. I wish the offseason was better, but we have a whip. We have a team that is going to dominate the AL Central. There's good teams in the AL Central now. Like, I think Detroit and the Twins are coming. They're there. Yep. But the White Sox are far and away past those guys.
Yep.
I just want them to be level or past the Blue Jays or the Rays or the Yankees or Mariners. Hell.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are going to keep an eye on, because of the division actually slowly improving now, that iron sharpens iron principle comes into play a little bit more, especially as last year, obviously, it was probably the biggest hindrance for the White Sox, is they had to play against bad competition all year, interdivisional, and you don't get better beating the shit out of the Royals or the Tigers when they're bad. You got to. So now the out of like the Cardinals today, my dear God, it's a spring training game. They're dead already.
Calm down.
26 runs.
What, they scored 3 touchdowns?
Yeah,
28 points.
Oh shit, 4 touchdowns,
or something like that. They scored a lot. But to your point, like this year in the playoffs, when we got 6 teams in the AL, you could see 4 teams from the AL East. Like you could get like the Mariners win the West, the White Sox win the Central, and then the whole AL East is in the playoffs. Like, do you want to play the Rays in the first round, or the Tampa Bay, or the Toronto Blue Jays, or the Yankees or Red Sox? No.
Fuck no.
If the Baltimore gets up, hell, let's eat. Come on.
The last, I guess, I don't want to say negative thing. The last thing where I can understand people's frustration is just the fact that the most expensive non-reliever the White Sox signed this offseason was Leury Garcia.
It hurts. It hurts so badly. That's a failure. Yeah. I don't care if your team's on the precipice. The Dodgers are on the precipice. They're not stopping.
Nope.
I mean,
the Dodgers are unreal.
One thing I wanted to ask Fidds is, like, the GD Colorado Rockies are out here signing big time free agents, a guy that could be used on the White Sox, and maybe eventually he'll be on the White Sox. Hell, that deal out there, Chris, I know Chris, like, he's like, they're paying me a lot of money. This is the only probably team that's paying me this level of money, and I can be out of this sumbitch by the All-Star break, because they've traded fucking Nolan Arenado after a year after he signed his extension. So if they're signing people, why can't the White Sox? And the Colorado Rockies have no reason that's K-Fidds. I know you're close to the situation in Bryant, so I don't know why they signed and why he signed there.
For that one, that's a challenge for him. He's never not played on a winning team, and he came to the Cubs with that same haven't won a World Series in 108 years. So, like, for him, the challenge is part of the whole appeal. Obviously, the money is fantastic, and nice. What he was potentially getting from San Diego was less than what Colorado could offer, especially when you think of the taxes, the state income taxes and whatnot. I mean, it was. I mean, he just alone in the contract is probably like $12 to $13 million more if the Padres would have had to offer $12-13 million more just to even balance it out. And so
I guarantee they wish they did, because that man is going to kill out there in Colorado.
Yeah, that's what I said. Why not, dude? Go get a fat ass paycheck, pad them stats a little bit in Colorado, and then just cruise into Cooperstown.
Well, and he's going to hold them accountable. They've given him assurances that they're going to go for it. So, I mean, that the no trade clause that he has too protects him from that and forces their hand to actually compete, or they're going to really be wasting their money. So,
I mean, $26 million for Kris Bryant, I think it's a steal. It's an absolute steal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's a drop in the like. We're talking about maybe getting Michael Conforto $20 to $22 million. I would gladly pay Kris Bryant much more money than Michael Conforto, because Kris Bryant has what everybody's looking for: versatility. Yohan wants a day off, third base, cool. Somebody in left field wants a day off, cool. Left field, right field, all day long. He wants a day off for himself, off his feet, designated hitter. That shit, and he plays above average defense at all those positions. Like, what more can you ask for in a superstar with the bat? Like, the bat, that doesn't even register, because he's Kris Bryant. Like, I'm not a closeted, I am a Kris Bryant fan. I went to his first game ever, and so when I see that him getting mistreated by Cub fans or talked about by White Sox fans like he's not good, I'm like, you guys are not seeing the real stuff. Yeah. That man is awesome, and I wish he has an awesome season in Colorado. And Colorado's like, hey, let's trade him to the White Sox. Perfect.
Well, the inherent value that he has there too is off the field stuff too. He's never going to be a problem off the field. You're not going to have any kind of legal drama, but also in the clubhouse, you have a guy that sits around and watches other dudes hit and helps work with them. He's not a get in, get my work, and then leave. He's a baseball hitting guy. He likes to teach swings. He likes to help other guys. So you're going to have a mature veteran guy in a clubhouse that's going to be working with guys, making them better. And you don't usually get that a lot of times. A lot of times guys get in and get their work and they're out. See you later. I'm done. See you guys. Coach has got it handled. He sits there and observes. He watches. The amount of reps that dude takes in a cage is insane to me. Like, it's always been that way. He's the guy that after practice is over, he's still working another 2 hours. Practice doesn't end when the team breaks. He's got work to do still.
It's not a coincidence that all these guys who are at the top of the league, or for the most part, had fathers who were professional baseball players. Like Kris Bryant was dad. Mike was a professional baseball player. Fernando Tatis, of course. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette. It keeps on going on and on.
So
now, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because as you guys I knew once you brought up Kris Bryant that I wasn't going to get to talk. Fidds' pants got a little bigger.
Sorry about that.
No. All right, so that's enough of the disappointing off-season stuff. Now, as the current landscape in MLB is now finally taken shape after the lockout, and we look at some of these teams that are just absolute fucking powerhouses on paper. I'm talking about the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, teams like that. If you look, and I know specifically a couple people are going to jump down my throat in the comments here, but if you look at their bullpens, that seems to be the Achilles heel. Like, if you get into, like Toronto's bullpen, even though, and their starters are pretty sick this year, but they just don't, I'm not scared. Like the White Sox, I feel like they have a bullpen that can, do some things late in the season. And anyone that's been watching baseball for a while knows that when you get into the shit, like the games that count, you got to have that bullpen firing. And, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm trying to look like Trevor Richards isn't scaring me coming out of Toronto, and there's really no guy on here, but they can easily just win games like 14-2 with this offense. But how are you feeling about the White Sox bullpen? I mean, on paper it looks great, but is this the year Kimbrel takes that jump and is that guy we need him to be, or you feeling good about this Sox pen?
Shout out to Zeus, by the way. Zeus just got comfortable behind you.
Oh.
I would say that, yeah, I was just talking to Anthony Herron on the score that Kimbrel and most baseball players are creatures of habit. So he signed with the Cubs like in 2019 in the middle of the season. Terrible. Shortened season in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And they kind of worked him into good situations, got him out before too many bad things happened, reworked him. I don't know who the pitching coach was at the time, Fidds, but I know that David Ross worked with him. And so it was 2021 first half of the season with the Cubs. Best reliever in baseball. Because he knew his role. Mm-hmm. He was confident in what he was throwing. Throughout this whole time, I don't think he really had any real injuries with his arm. But in 2021, it worked. Then he got traded to the White Sox. Creature of habit. I get the ball in the ninth inning. I close the game out. Now the White Sox, I'm not getting the ball in the ninth inning. I'm struggling in the eighth, seventh, whatever inning I'm in. Mm-hmm. Now, a person who is observing that would say, doesn't matter if you get the ball in the ninth, get damn outs immediately. That's all you got to get. I think, yes, that is the main point. But the sudden change of I'm a closer and now I'm the reliever, maybe not, on the surface affected him, but somewhere subconsciously, like, I'm not the closer anymore. I don't have the same mentality, because we all have heard it that closers have a different mentality. It's just about that ninth. It's about the 25, 26, and 27th out. Yeah. Get them out. And not everybody can do it. And so this offseason, I hope he got his mind right. I know he thought he was going to get traded, but I hope after the lockout, he's like, this shit ain't happening. Eighth inning is mine. I'm going to dominate that. That's my ninth inning. I'm going to get my mind right. If he doesn't, it's on him.
Yep.
It's 100% on him.
And the thing too that you make a good point with that is the fact that the creatures of habit thing. And anybody that, the people that criticize, it shouldn't be that big a deal. Just simulate the eighth, the ninth inning. Obviously, have never played high level competition. You don't understand what it's like to be someone that has done it a certain way the whole time.
And a Hall of Fame career too, doing it well.
Right. And then you change uniforms and you go into a whole new system and a whole new routine and a whole new if people were paying attention, his early beginning with the Cubs wasn't very smooth. It took a while for him to even get adjusted. And that was a mid-season pickup. Mm-hmm. It's a guy that takes time to get that routine. And once he's comfortable and in it, he goes, and like you just said, the off season, he has now had months and months and months to formulate a new mindset and adapt instead of on the fly, adapt in private where there's less pressure, where he can really kind of ramp it up and get comfortable with that routine, and then come into spring training with a plan to do what he's supposed to do, which is in this case, shut the door in the eighth inning and bridge to that final, the final three bullets. So I mean, that's the biggest part about what you make a perfect point is the routine is disruptive if it's moved around and shaken.
To that exact point too, I think that what you're saying, Herb and Kevin, how he has this whole offseason now to adjust the mindset into the eighth inning's mine. I'm going to get that done. I think the same thing is going to apply to young Mr. Kopech, where he's coming into this season knowing I'm the fourth fucking starter. Like, it's go time for me. I understand there's arm fatigue or whatever they want to call it. And, he's going to be working with that. But I feel like he's going to be even stronger this year by having that whole offseason coming in saying, this is it. I'm a starter now. Like, no more, is he going to start? Is he in the bullpen? Is he spot starter? No, you're the fourth starter for the Chicago White Sox. Let's tune it up. Now, speaking of the rotation, let's stay here for a minute. Let's talk about that fifth starter spot. All right, so on paper right now it's Dallas Keuchel, but as we all know, he's been, as the kids would say, #bad, as I would say, cheeks. He's just not good. They brought in Vince Velasquez, also not good. Couldn't even get out of the first inning in his last spring training start. Got beat like he stole something. I mean, it was bad. His breaking ball looked good until he missed, and when he missed, god damn, that ball went far. But the dark horse, in my opinion, for that 5th spot is good old Raylo. Raylo looked pretty fucking good towards last year, especially towards the end of the year. He looked good in his couple spring training appearances so far. I know a lot of people have him penciled in as that long relief pitcher, but I don't know where if you're making that card right now, who's you penciling in as the 5th starter?
I mean, even though he's been inconsistent and his 2021 wasn't great, I'm still having Dallas Keuchel there.
You think it's his to lose?
Yes, 100%. Okay. Like, he's getting paid a bunch of money, and that shouldn't factor in, but it does. Of course it does. It's a sunk cost. I mean, they could not have him there. They could just have him on the team to be a long reliever like they did in the playoffs. But these teams, they're going to be going all out for Dallas Keuchel regaining his form. Last year, he was hurt. He was this, that, and the other. The real Dallas Keuchel is 2020. Dallas Keuchel, not 2021 guy. I hope they're right. I really hope they're right, because good Dallas Keuchel, or just an average Dallas Keuchel, makes this team go to the moon. A guy that's going to pick you up at least 150 innings at the back of your rotation and give you, I think, sub 4.5 ERA, get into the 5th inning at least. Sometimes those are valuable starts. He might get rocked for 6 innings. It might be he gave up 5 earned runs in 6 innings, but he didn't. He went through 6. Those are runs probably came in early, got out of him. He's a veteran. He understands how to, with the wily nature of his pitching, he knows how to induce ground balls for double plays and things like that. I think he had like a 58% ground ball rate last year. If that guy gets back up to 60, like I think he was in 2020 and in his Cy Young year in 2017, the sky's the limit for the White Sox. That is the thing I am probably most worried about, is the 4th and 5th starter, Keuchel and Kopech, because Kopech is going to pitch his first innings on Thursday for the spring training, 2 innings. And then he has one more start after that. I would think he'll ramp up to 3 to 4, and then scheduled to pitch, if he's the 4th starter, after the day off out of Detroit, you go to the home opener April 12th versus the Mariners. I probably want a guy that's going to go, or you at least project's going to go 5 to 6 innings. A guy that's pitched 2 times in spring training, had a bout with COVID late in February. I don't know if I'm handing the ball to him going against that Mariner lineup on the home opener. Maybe I'll go Keuchel there, skip Kopech so he gets a couple more innings in the bullpen session, live BP, whatever he needs to do to stretch his arm out, and then go back to the top of the rotation and have Keuchel or Kopech pitch in the spot next time in the rotation. It's just, that's the only thing I really have problems with. The 4th and 5th starter for the White Sox, that can derail a championship. Those guys not going far, then you got to go into that bullpen, which is highly paid and a lot of people in there. But if you exhaust those guys, then when it comes to September, October, then you're fucked.
And the thing with a guy like Keuchel and the concerns you have as a guy like him in the 5th, with the White Sox offense built the way that it is, I mean, it's okay to turn every 5th start against an opposing team's 5th starter into a beer league softball game sometimes when it has to happen. And that's the thing with Keuchel, is his veteran, he's an innings eater. He can grind out 5 or 6 innings, especially when you need him to. He might elevate his, he's an older guy. He knows whether to elevate his pitch, his pitch count a little bit if he has to. But you can know that you put your best offensive lineup together for that day. He does struggle. You aren't out of the ball game. The White Sox, you're not going to need Keuchel as much in a short series. Postseason wise, you can cross that bridge when you get there. But in the regular season of the expanse of 162 games, you have a guy that can go out there consistently, and you have a 50-50 chance of putting up a 10 spot anyway with this offense. he just needs to keep it close and then let the offense do the work and then bridge it to like later and let that bullpen maybe get a couple days rest if they need to. But
I like this comment.
To speak to your point. Sorry, I didn't answer your question about Raylo though. I think Raylo's best position. I thought this when he was out of like 2019 when he was kind of struggling a little bit. I was like, maybe his best position is a reliever. I think
that's true.
Excelled last year because
he really did.
He had a role. He had, just had to cut down some of the pitches that he used. He plays. I thought when we traded for Giolito and Dunning and for Adam Eaton, I was like, Raylo has the best stuff out of those three. Like, his stuff is filthy. I mean, since then, Giolito has been filthy. He's top of the league. His fastball is up the top of the strike zone. And he paired that with a high changeup. And then when he struggles, the guy knows how to adjust and get to, like, he shelved his changeup for the most part in the first half after that Boston massacre, and then went to the slider and then got back to his changeup when he felt confident in it. But Raylo has got some confidence himself from last year when he was in the bullpen mostly and doing a great job. I think his best role, like, you can pair him with, if you want to, Kopech or Keuchel, because you have enough arms otherwise, and right-handed arms specifically, and you could just kind of do a piggyback thing with Kopech or him or Crochet and Kopech.
That exact point.
Type of thing.
Alex here in the comments, maybe they can use him and Crochet together.
Yeah, Alex, my guy Alex Rudin, earlier he was talking I was talking about Chris Bryant can play any position, pretty above average. And he said the metrics don't say as much. And I got to give it to Alex. He knows his stuff, and that's how we get better, by being corrected. My man Alex Root is always on it. That's all good. I'm not taking offense at all. It's all good.
Not at all. He's our resident fact checker, man.
Hey, man.
He's here every week, and we love him for it.
If you can't take corrective criticism, then what are you? Come on now.
Yeah,
Alex is awesome. I love him.
You're in the wrong. But Garrett Crochet looked very good in his spring trainings.
Mercy.
Apparently. Like, you talk about taking that next step that everybody talks about, this, whatever next step narrative or whatever. Alex Crochet looks like he might have fucked around and figured it out, because he's looking. It's spring training. We did a whole show about overreactions last week, Herb. So I'm trying to stay somewhat grounded about my spring training overreactions. But yeah,
he's 22. My God,
right? He's a kid. He's a child.
Yeah. Down a little bit.
I think that, like, as I get older, I realize, and people have probably been telling me this for years, like probably when I was a child, that confidence is probably as important, or if not more important, than actual stuff.
Agreed.
Like fighter pilot mentality.
Yeah, he's confident that his fastball and his slider can't be touched. Cannot. And I think the literal same thing happened with Dylan Cease. He knows, like, he's like, hey, I'm one of the best. Like, there's no pitcher in the White Sox rotation that has better pitch mix, better stuff than Dylan Cease. He just had to see it for himself. Mm-hmm. And now he's feeling himself. Now he's like, let's fucking go. Put a batter up there. Put one up there. Good. That guy cannot hit me. And I think that's the same thing with Crochet. 100%. And I think, like I said with Lopez, I think Garrett Crochet's best position ultimately is a reliever. But for his long-term pocketbook, being a starter, and for the White Sox long-term look, and next year they're not going to have Keuchel, hopefully, is a starter. They're going to be on the plan for what Michael Kopech did last year for Garrett Crochet this year. So I'm through the moon with that guy. That guy is limitless if he knows that he's the shit. Sometimes knowing that you're the shit is better than having good shit.
Oh, I totally agree.
Liam Hendricks said that last year. It's like, I'd rather pitch a pitch that I'm 100% confident with than an actual good pitch that I don't have confidence in. That's 100% in life too.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You have to take into consideration, Crochet's never struggled. He's never had to deal with adversity. He's always been the big dude. He's always been the best player on the field. And, I hate to use a Top Gun reference because that movie trailer came out yesterday, but think of Maverick pre-Goose death and then Maverick post Goose death.
He killed
when
Goose,
you were shaken and your confidence is shaken, you no longer have that ability to do your job well. And when you get it back and it clicks back on, you feel it. You know you're going to throw through somebody. You're not throw at somebody, near somebody. You're throwing through them. And they're not going to. You know that they're not going to touch this. You're here. I'll put it wherever I want, bitch. You're not going to touch. And that's the confidence that those dudes on the bump have to fight with every single start. Because if you lack confidence, everything is second guessing. You're not committed to delivery. You're not committed to finishing. You're sorry, Alex. I took that group of winner waiters down to Cobalt and Flamingo this weekend. Even I'm like, this is where it happened. But that fighter pilot mentality is what a pitcher needs, and that's a confidence thing. And when they have that confidence, you cannot underestimate. I think it's as or equally or even more sometimes important than having stuff. Because think of a guy like Greg Maddux when he was towards the tail end of his career. The guy looked like a beer league softball player, and he had the confidence.
Still getting people out.
Elevated, and getting outs. You can pitch. That's what they do. So you just keep them comfortable.
The last thing about the White Sox pitching staff, one of the A's beat writers, he's a beat writer for MLB.com, Martin Gallegos. I'm definitely pronouncing your last name wrong. Sorry, bud. But it's just what I do here. He's been like weirdly hinting at Sean Manaea coming to the White Sox. Like in his recent, if you look at his timeline, he talks about how he's going to be. It's just, I don't know. Alex pointed this out to me, and he sent me a couple DMs of his tweets. Steve Stone almost hints at it a little bit, and then Martin, he did this tweet after Sean's last start where he had 6 strikeouts, 58 pitches, and then he does a gift of NWA all wearing Sox hats nodding their heads. And it's just like, this could just be me really wanting him on the team, and I'm looking way too much into this shit, which is very possible. Sean looked really good in his spring training start last time. He's got the what's the clown from The Simpsons? Not crust, Sideshow Bob hair coming out of that hat, but that slider, man, that's slick. And I guess the question here is, do you envision that move even possibly being made?
No. If I was Rick Hahn and I set my team up as I did, I would 100% be looking, especially with the Michael Kopech thing where he's only pitching his first start on Thursday,
right?
2 innings. I would 100% be looking to upgrade in my championship window, especially a guy like Sean Manaea, who probably won't cost you what you think he will. The A's are looking to sell out.
Yeah,
and they know they have a good left-hander there, and of course Frankie Montas, former White Sox great, even though he didn't pitch for us, also there. There's availability there to acquire a guy from Indiana, Terre Haute, I believe, not part of the region. I think I called him a region rat before. Terre Haute's like in the middle of the state, by the Illinois border.
Close enough.
Yeah. A guy would, those people would come from Terre Haute to watch White Sox games, and that on the White Sox current staff, he would be the 4th starter, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. I'm taking a flyer on him if it's not going to cost me a lot. I mean, for the White Sox, costing you a lot would be Andrew Vaughn.
Right.
And they're never trading Andrew Vaughn, how they think about him. So, Gavin Sheets, bye immediately, please. I enjoyed your last year. I was at the Minnesota game when you hit that home run off of Barrios. Awesome. Good job.
That's the movie.
If we're getting Sean Manaea,
yeah.
I will drive you to O'Hare. I might drive you to Oakland to send you on your way. Jake Berger, 100%. Great story. Enjoy Oakland. Yeah. I heard that good food and good music. Hammers out there.
I almost feel like Oakland would be like, I don't know. They need Alex, you literally put it in here when I said they need they lost their first and third baseman. So I feel like Jake Berger would be.
And their backup first baseman in Frank Schwindel. Sorry.
Frank the Tank. Is he gonna have a good year this year, K-Fidds?
I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe when I see it.
He's very much a prove it guy. But I also feel like the A's are like, for some reason, I don't really have statistical or any need or put all that shit aside. I know it's important, but I feel like the A's are like the perfect home for a guy like Adolfo.
Oh, yeah, he can actually play, run into 30 home runs, hitting 220.
Yep, cheap.
Yeah, just like strike out like 250 times, but he hit 30 home runs and cheap. Yes, like you said, and 6 years to be cheap. Yeah, and he's 25, so relatively young. Yeah, it's a perfect thing. And then a couple years ago later, we'll be like, we traded fucking Miker Adolfo, like we said about Chris Bassett, like we said about Marcus Semien, etc. Frankie Montas.
Yeah.
Gio Gonzalez. God damn, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, this could be a whole nother show. But I feel like if Berger and Adolfo get you that 4-starter, that's silliness to me. That's why
I've already hit the button. What are we talking about? Like if they literally say, like Oakland GM's like, yeah, we want Sheets and Berger. Done. Like right after the R of Berger, hit the button. It's already done. I've already sent them there. They're already at the airport. Check.
Yes. So I just want to put that out there because, Alex did bring it up, and I appreciate it, Alex. We always appreciate you, bud. And I thought it was interesting. And yeah, man, I would not be mad about that.
Then that off season becomes great.
Yeah.
You have another starter, and you can still do the things you want to do with Michael Kopech. In that you just have to do it more creatively, where you're having Michael Kopech take the start one time, and then the other time you're having Dallas Keuchel, or splicing in starts in between, somehow getting Michael Kopech into enough innings so next year he can just go full bore. That's the point of this year. Michael Kopech is training for next year, which I don't necessarily like in a championship contending team, but I understand because he can be a top of the rotation arm if he's handled correctly.
That's fair. I like how you put that. And in the comments here, again, if you guys watch us live on Wednesday night, definitely join us in the comment section. But Alex says, considering his brother's history with the team, would you all be willing to move Cespedes for him? I can honestly say, pre the spring training, I'd probably say, yeah, I wouldn't mind. But he's impressed me a little bit in spring training. I guess I didn't know enough about him as a player. And
he looks like his brother. A little shorter, like first blush, he like swings like his brother. This is the thing. Like, I don't know if the White Sox are gonna retain Jose Abreu for next year.
Right.
If they're retaining Jose Abreu 3 more years, which I would have no problem with if he has a Jose Abreu this year, awesome. And then you would have to have Andrew Vaughn in right field still, or designated hitter. But if they're not, Andrew Vaughn moves into his natural spot at first base.
Right.
Then Cespedes will come into the play. Maybe Colas comes into play. I thought maybe he had a chance to come to the major league squad this year, but AKA how Andrew Vaughn moved from single A to the majors in 1 year. Not really, because he took out the 2020 year, but I thought the White Sox, like, this guy's hitting well, but I would like to see a full year of Cespedes kicking ass in AA or AAA, just murdering the league, kind of like Luis Robert did, and then coming to the team next year fully ready for a rookie season.
Yeah, no, I'm down with that train of thought with that, because I think I'm there. And you mentioned his name. So the last thing about the White Sox, and then I do want to kind of touch base on some of the comings and goings around MLB real quick, but this would be a real quick question, because I think we're very much on the same page with this. I mean, I've already put money on it, but do you think Luis Robert has a shot at the MVP this year?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I knew that
as quickly as that.
I knew that'd be.
I've already got a bet too, like you.
Yeah, I knew that'd be quick.
I think the only thing holding Luis Robert back from the MVP this year is literally health.
Yeah.
If he plays 150 games, you can mark this sumbitch down.
No,
he's winning the MVP. He's winning the MVP of the American League.
Yep.
I don't care if Mike Trout plays 150 games. That guy, and I hate to say it like that. That guy is special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you see somebody special, you gotta shout it from the rooftops. And he is special, specifically.
He checks every box. He checks every box. He checks every box as a player, just all across the board. And that, like you said, health is the one thing that will stand in his way. If he gets a full season and he's healthy, how can he not? If the way he plays when he's healthy is.
And I kind of feel the same way. And I know Shohei Ohtani's pitching and hitting well.
Right.
I kind of feel the same way about Byron Buxton. Health is the only thing that's held him back in his career.
Big time.
He is special. That's why I think the Minnesota Twins getting Correa and then another superstar already, Buxton, and if Miguel Sano ever gets his head out of his ass, ever, he will be special too. But
he likes to come up for air every once in a while.
That fucking guy.
Yeah.
God, what a disappointment. Even though he's had good years, overall, I think Miguel Sano's career has been a disappointment.
Yeah. He definitely likes to hit fucking bombs against the White Sox.
That's shit. Him and Max Kepler love that. That's their favorite hit.
Well, Max Kepler likes to say a lot of other shit. The Germans. But I guess that's a perfect segue into. We like to talk about this all the time, although it gives me a ton of shit on the show because a couple of years ago, when they still had a good team and they were, the Indians, I said before the season, I go, well, no, I don't sweat the Indians. And then the Indians went on to just destroy the White Sox that year. It was like 2-3 years ago. But looking at the landscape of the AL Central now, and you touched on it earlier, and I think we're pretty much on the same page with this. I don't think anybody really scares me. I think that's a strong word. I think the White Sox win the AL Central. I just think that, to Kevin's point and your point earlier, the division's gotten stronger. So out of the division, like, what are you looking at when you look at the AL Central outside of the White Sox right now?
I think the Tigers are the second best team in the AL Central right now.
Yes.
We looked at them today on CHGO, and it was like, Jesus Christ, they're pretty good. I mean, we did the lineup that they've been doing down there in spring training, and it's Akil Baddoo, then it's Robbie Grossman, on-base guy, then it's Javi Baez. I mean, I told White Sox fans on the episode, I was like, I know that you guys think that Javi Baez is shit and he's garbage because he's a Cup guy, and it was who's the best shortstop in Chicago, Tim or Javi?
Fidds hates him.
But you're going to hate him more this year because he got 18 games against you, and he does well versus the White Sox. The guy is a good player. And I still don't know who named him Slidey McTaggy. It is the greatest nickname of all time.
It's fantastic.
It is a perfect nickname. He's going to kill. Miguel Cabrera is on his last legs. He'll probably play DH or him or Eric Haas. You just have hitters throughout. And then I haven't even talked about the two rookies they have possibly coming up, Torkelson and then Riley Green in center field. Like, they have two Rookie of the Year candidates in their lineup probably by mid-April. Like, they're just really, really good. And their pitching staff, I haven't even talked about them. Casey Mize.
If he figures it out. If Casey Mize figures it out.
Tariq Skubal. Tyler Alexander. They have people. They just picked up Michael Pineda. They have really good people. Matt Manning. And their bullpen, Michael Fulmer's figured it out in the bullpen. So has Gregory Soto. They have people out there. And they have our manager. AJ Hinch is in Detroit instead of here in Chicago. That's a real big problem. I don't think they're going to be close. Like I say, close is like within 5 games of the White Sox. I think they're going to give the White Sox fits. Like if there's 18 games this year, White Sox will probably win 11, 10 games versus them, and it'll be a battle each time.
I'm trying to look up
with these teams like the Tigers that are they're almost there, right? They're emerging, I guess you could say. Just like we've seen with a couple of franchises, you say, oh, the window is in about 2 years, that it started about 2 years, but teams hit that window sometimes quicker and earlier. And, I think so with the White Sox, the Cubs, same thing. They hit the window a year ahead of schedule. So it wouldn't be a shock if someone else does it too. It's not just relegated to Chicago baseball. Teams hit that peak earlier than expected. The projections are there for a reason too. This is when it should happen, but baseball players, especially freakish athletes, tend to surprise you a little bit on occasion. And
I think Zo was talking about, like, if Casey Mize figures it out as a former number 1 pick overall, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
If Spencer Torkelson comes up and is the player that they envision him to be, we're in trouble as White Sox fans. Real trouble.
Yeah,
and that's why the offseason was so disappointing, because the other teams in the Central, at least the Twins and the Tigers, got really good, got better. The White Sox probably stayed the same, maybe went down a little bit. That's the only problem I have with the offseason right there, because you're just relying on these teams just to give you the Central, and Detroit's not trying to give you that Central. They're trying to capture it.
So
I will say, though, that Sox fans definitely want to see El Magoo, not El Mago. El Magoo is the Javi they want to see, which is.
So, I mean, I said this the other day, like
putting shit in the dirt,
like Javi gets overplayed for things that are not really great, like that play that he did in Pittsburgh. While it is great, and I put those in quotes, all you had to do was step on first base. If you had a smart baseball player, step on first base, the whole shit is over. That player who didn't step on first base is like in Japan now. He literally got like cut and went to Japan because he was so embarrassed.
If Javi was so smart in that play, he wouldn't be standing at home plate after the run scored, umpiring and giving the safe sign before he realized, oh shit, I have to go. He didn't know.
Yeah, after all that stuff, they could just throw him the first out. The run didn't score. Game over, or the inning over.
So real quick, don't even think about it. Yes or no answer from both of you. Start with her. Detroit Tigers 77 wins over under.
Over.
Okay.
Yes.
Fidds?
Over.
Yeah, I say over.
Okay. I just put money on that, so I hope we're all right.
Everyone's going to be picking limbs off the Guardians.
Yep.
Spiders.
And
whatever.
I mean, we all know what the Twins did this offseason. I still think the Twins bullpen is fucking cheeks, but they got a decent rotation. Miata being hurt sucks for them. But they did pick up Chris Archer, which I don't know why people are freaking out about that. Chris Archer hasn't been good in like 4 years.
Since he left Tampa, even before Tampa.
Right. But the additions, I mean, Gary Sanchez, Sano at first, Polanco at second, probably Gio Urshela at third, and then the big name, Carlos Correa at short. And they'll probably put
Kepler and Kirilloff in the corner outfield.
Kirilloff, and then hopefully stay. I never wish ill against. Exactly. I don't care if he's on a rival. You can't wish for injuries on players. That's just bad everything. But Byron Buxton in center, they still have that fucking Jake Cave. I hate that guy. Yeah. And he's one of those guys, dude. He's just a thorn in the White Sox side. I think I started a hashtag last year. Who the fuck is Jake Cave? And he just came out and went like 3 for 4 and whatever. But their bullpen sucks.
Yes.
Their rotation's okay. But man, is that lineup going to look sexy? And I know it's not the same Gary Sanchez. I know this, but anyone that plays MLB The Show knows that Gary Sanchez still absolutely rakes.
Yeah, crushes. And I don't know which lineup is better between the Twins or the Tigers. I know the White Sox are superior to both of them.
Yes.
But those two lineups, it's tough. I think the Tigers are more well-balanced throughout. Like when you got a Jonathan Scope who,
interesting,
other people were like, Jonathan Scope's nothing. When he didn't get traded last year, I was surprised, but they probably saw this coming. Like Jonathan Scope's going to hit home runs. He might not field well, but he'll hit home runs. And I alluded to him earlier, Eric Haas, former catcher, or he is still a catcher, but now Tucker Barnhart is doing most of the catching in Detroit. Right. Eric Haas, if you're a White Sox fan, and Chris Tannehill, my former partner, called him Honus Haas. He is just killing against the White Sox. And that Minnesota Twins, the only problem with the Minnesota Twins is that they're the weird-ass Minnesota Twins. And then secondly is that their rotation sucks.
Yep.
There's no one in that rotation. You're like, God damn, it's a tough day today. Like the White Sox kind of struggled against Dylan Bundy last year in Anaheim, but never are you like, oh man, here comes Dylan Bundy. Or Sonny Gray is good. It's a good pickup. If the White Sox would have got Sonny Gray, I would have been like, let's go. fourth starter. Let's go.
That's fair.
But never am I going to be like, man, White Sox got to go get Sonny Gray today. It's going to be a tough game, guys. It's going to be a real tough game. We can't win this one.
Yeah.
Like, they have a bunch of 2-3 starters. Bailey Ober might project to something a little bit better, but unless they get Manaea or Montas or somebody else who's a starting pitcher on the market, I'm not worried too tough about the Minnesota Twins, the weird-ass Minnesota Twins, too tough.
Right. And I'm with you. And I think just saying that, though, that makes the move to get Manaea even bigger for the White Sox, if anything, to block him from going to the Twins. Yeah. Then the other two leagues, the Royals are going to suck, but that kid Bobby Witt's going to be something special. Yeah. And then Alex, Alex in the comments, though, Cleveland did have a lot of injuries. Cleveland has a very good rotation. And they also have a pretty solid bullpen. Emmanuel Clase, I have secretly fallen in love with him because of MLB The Show.
100 hit him. Plus cutter.
Yeah, it's gross.
That's unfair.
It's gross.
You shouldn't be able to throw that pitch.
Breaking bats left and right. But with the rotation, when you have, Shane Bieber, Savali, Plesac, who's a douche, Quintrell, Tristan McKenzie. Tristan McKenzie came out big at the end of last year. Mm-hmm. I think he took a no-no into the 9th or something like that.
Yeah, he went to the minors. They had to send him back to the minors to get right.
Control was terrible.
Yeah, they have a nice, decent rotation. All those guys, from time to time, can scare you. Yes. As I talk about Sonny Gray, I was like, not too scared. Like, you get Aaron Savali on the bump while the names doesn't ring out, the pitching does. He can do work. And even though you said he's a douche, the guy, Plesac, is a pretty decent pitcher.
Yes.
And at the top of that, is there a better pitcher when he's right than Shane Bieber? He won the AL Cy Young, 2020 or 2019? He's filthy. He's great. Mm-hmm. They have a nice pitching staff, and they have one hitter in Jose Ramirez who does all the damage against the White Sox, it seems like. But they're falling short. What is Franmil Reyes going to scare you? Might run into one in once in a while. I'm good.
No,
otherwise, F the Guardians. I know what you're saying, Alex. Yeah. But F the Guardians. And Karen checks out too because he can't have his sticky stuff and can't pitch correctly anymore. He's out.
And I'm going through the Guardians projected lineup, and there's a lot of who in here. It's just that I'm not really sweating that, but
gas score runs to win games.
Yeah, they can win games 1-0. I'm sure they'll squeak out a lot of those too. Not a lot, but they'll win something like that. But yeah, I feel comfortable with the White Sox starting lineup versus the Indians rotation. Put it that way. I'm not sweating that too much. Now, teams that I am officially sweating in the AL. We'll start right at the top because that team, I think they're just disgusting, is the Toronto Blue Jays.
They did so much to improve a team that was on the precipice of the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really good team. Like, if the playoffs were the format they are this year for last year, the playoffs would have been the White Sox versus the Toronto Blue Jays in the first round. And I'm not a fan of that.
No.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a player.
Yes.
So is Bo Bichette. Jesus Christ, they get Matt Chapman. Like, what the hell? Sorry about that. I just hit my damn computer.
Because that's how flustered you are. Yeah, because the team is gross, dude.
Like, how did they get that damn good?
Kevin,
and then they just get the guy from San Francisco too last year.
I'm trying.
They got Gossman. Did they get him? Like, they're really, really goddamn good in a division where every game matters.
Yep.
They got 4 really good teams in there. And yeah, I'm not a fan of going against the Toronto Blue Jays.
No.
Like, if we can avoid them, awesome. But we're avoiding them to play the Tampa Bay Rays, who have somebody you've never heard of that's going to pitch 7 innings and do well. And then somebody else you've never heard of is going to strike you out in the 9th inning, like McClanahan or Chagra, something like that. It's going to just be like, who?
Yep. And then Corey Kluber is going to have a comeback season this year for Tampa Bay, and There you go, sub-3 ERA. But no, the Blue Jays, the rotation's sick. Their bullpen's kind of meh, but serviceable. But yeah, you go around Vlad Jr., Kevin Biggio, Matt Chapman, Bo Bichette, Gurriel Jr., George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez. It's just
George Springer's like an afterthought.
Right.
It's weird. It's really weird.
33% of their starting 9 lineup have a projected 4.5 WAR or better.
That's come on now.
Christ.
Come on.
That's just
come on.
How do you pitch that team? How do you pitch that team? Like Kevin Biggio is like an afterthought.
Yep.
George Springer's an afterthought. You're just like, those guys.
Oh,
I got to get to Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette.
There's no exhale.
Bo Bichette's so fucking good too. I don't think people truly appreciate how good Bo Bichette is.
And his name is great to say, Bo Bichette.
Yeah, and he's got the hair, so Flo Bichette, it just kind of works. The guy's a marketing dream. Like, yeah, he's really good. You mentioned him earlier too. I secretly am a big fan. I know we see him first series at home, but the Mariners are gonna be fucking good, dude.
Yes.
And very young team, but they added a couple like Jesse Winkler. They went out and got what's his face, Suarez.
Eugenio Suarez.
Yes, but they made some moves. JP Crawford's good, and they got these young outfielders, man. Where if these young outfielders hit, holy fuck, they're gonna be good.
Remember Kyle Lewis had the Rookie of the Year. Was the Rookie of the Year because Luis Robert fell off in 2020.
Yep.
Then Kyle Lewis took the mantle, but Kyle Lewis is in center field. Mitch Haniger is out there.
They hung on to Haniger. I thought for sure they were going to move him.
Last year, I thought it. Jarred Kelenic is still there.
Yep.
Jesse Winker, you just talked about, and we didn't mention the guy that might be the best out of all of them, Julio Rodriguez. Rookie this year is gonna be special.
Absolute fucking cannon attached to his body. That man has an arm, dude. Holy shit. He's gonna be very good.
They added a guy who I wanted to get last year from the Pirates, and Adam Frazier. While he had a good time in Pittsburgh, was terrible in San Diego. He might get a resurgence up there in the Great Northwest. I think the team is slept on, 100% slept on. They did some good work out there. I'm a big fan of what they are. Oh my God, the Cy Young Award winner they signed early before the lockout started.
Yep, Robbie Ray.
Just give them time to order really tight pants, like a lot of tight pants.
Yeah, I mean you got to put special orders in for those bad boys.
But baby,
Marco Gonzalez. They have a bunch of people that are just nice.
Yeah.
And they're gonna. We went up. Remember last year the White Sox went up to Seattle. I thought, all right, here we go. There's a couple wins right here. No, they only won one game up there in Seattle to start the season. It's a tough team, and now they're actually good. They got players that are going to take us down. That's what I was thinking. The White Sox can get Mitch Haniger last year. That would have solved our right field position. Jesus.
Kind of like though what I was saying about Bo Bichette, and you brought it up. I think it's because of where he plays. I think the Angels fall into this category too, where some of their talent gets slept on because they play at 11:30 at night. But Kyle Lewis is fucking a player, dude. That guy is. If you guys, we're gonna see it. First series on the South Side, you're gonna see Kyle Lewis up close and personal. That dude can just flat out ball, man. He is a fun player. I pick a different team every year to buy their hat. I bought a Mariners hat this year. I like the teams that got the young.
Did you buy the Mariner with the M and the compass behind it?
No, I know. I live on the South Side, Herb. I ain't trying to buy no pitchfork hats, dude.
Look at my man. Look at my man.
Come on now. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night, dude. No. I got the old one with the S and the navigation in there.
Palos, you're fine.
Yeah, I don't stay. I mean, I live here, but I work downtown and shit. I ain't trying to do that shit. But yeah, I just the Mariners. I think they're going to be great, and especially having a young kid. I got some late nights, so I'll probably catch a lot more Mariners games this year, and I'm excited for them though. I'm excited for the Mariners. Those are really the only teams that I mean, is there one that you guys am I missing? I mean, the Rangers bought a lot of guys this year, but I still think they're 2-3 years away. I don't know. Is there a squad that's really jumping out to either one of you? Could be AL or NL. I know we're staying AL, but
Fidds?
Yeah, Fidds. Who you got in the NL that?
I mean, the Dodgers. I think the Phillies are going to make a run. I think the Phillies are going to be
okay. I like that.
That's what I thought. That was the thing with Kimbrel too. Like they're so obsessed with Kimbrel, and they're going to need more eventually. So that could actually come back to help stop. Yeah, they got. I mean, and Castellanos is just. I'm waiting for the drop off. I'm waiting, and it just doesn't. It doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. It's incredible. And they got Schwarber, and they got. I mean, they're gonna push in that NL East, and I do think that it's going to come down to who can just put up runs against quality pitching when they're facing the studs, and that's not going to be really relevant to the postseason. I think they're gonna win a ton, and they're gonna.
I feel like the Phillies are very much on that train of thought where we're just going to score a fuck ton of runs. Who gives a shit about defense?
Beer league softball.
Yeah. They got they have, by all means, they have the horses to score a fuck ton of runs. It's just their defense. If you look at their position players, like their defensive war,
it's a lot of negative.
Yeah. But when you put up 8 runs a game, I guess it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. I think that the team I'm looking at, and I know every year I pick them to do something well, but they always fall short because they don't have good pitching. I think they addressed a little bit of that. They haven't gone all the way. And it's the Anaheim Angels or Los Angeles Angels or Anaheim, whatever.
You got Wheeler.
Shohei Ohtani. Like, he's a great hitter, but he's starting pitcher. Noah Syndergaard, if he stays healthy and regain some of the New York Mets form, fine. Sandoval. And they're turning Michael Lorenzen into a starter. That's the only problem I have. Like, Michael Lorenzen was decent in Cincinnati. The starter thing is going to be tough. But they spent money like the White Sox on their bullpen, trading for Raisel Iglesias, signing Ryan Tepera, signing Mike Myers, signing Archie Bradley. They're trying to get their team back. And we saw early in the season, Jarrett Walsh hitting that long home run against the White Sox, having a good series. Anthony Rendon's going to probably be healthy for 162. Of course, you have Mike Trout back for 162. Joe Adell's second year. Like, they have people. Mike Duffy's on the team. They have people on the team. Now, can they put it all together and maybe challenge one of those AL East teams for the wild card, or theoretically challenge either the Mariners or the Astros for the West title? Maybe. Joe Madden has history with going from an underdog to winning the division all the time. Like, they have 2 of the best players in baseball and pretty solid team otherwise. Now, can they stay healthy, and can the pitching staff deliver a little bit better performances than they've had in the last couple of years?
Right. And that's going to be a lot of that seems like that's been the story with the Angels for a decade. It just feels like forever. And again, Alex, stay hot, kid, tonight. I completely forgot Trevor Story's on the Red Sox. Like, that just went, that infield's sick with Bobby Dahlbeck, Trevor Story at second, Devers at third, and Bogarts at short. Like, that's an infield, I mean, Chris Sale,
Evaldi.
Yeah.
They got their guy JBJ back too.
Yeah, Chris, Sale's hurt again, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So Boston will be all right, though. I think that AL East it's always a complete dogfight out there.
And even when you play Baltimore, like, you're going to run against some pretty good young players like Mullins. You're going to run against Santander and Trey Mancini.
Who's their kid, the catcher?
Oh, yeah. Adley Rutschman coming up this year.
Yep.
For a former first overall draft pick.
Yep.
This is killer for Boston, by the way. You know that number we threw out with Toronto, right? Having 3 players at a 4.5 WAR or higher.
Yeah.
That Boston lineup peaks at 4.5. They've got 4.5 projection and a 4.0 projection with Story. So, like,
I feel like that speaks more to Toronto.
Toronto, yeah. That just shows how that's an elite right there. Toronto is just that much more elite offensively. That's absurd.
that's why I wonder about Story. Like, if the White Sox ever showed interest, would he want to firstly sign and play second base, and then secondly do the COVID test, which was kind of the hang up in Boston?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, does he see himself as a superior to Tim Anderson? I do, at shortstop. But does he see that? Of course he goes to Boston. He's like, who? Oh, no, I'm good. I'll play second base. Xander Bogaerts is at short. I'm good. You know, that type of thing. Like, I think he should see Tim as a superior to him at shortstop. But, you know, different things. And I would love for the White Sox head to go on for Trevor Story to play second base. Then you would have it all season. You're like, okay, maybe his splits don't work out. Maybe he had a bad year, but we've seen Trevor Story do Trevor Story things. Yeah. And maybe on a White Sox team where he's like the 7th or 8th guy, he still has a great Trevor Story year.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone falls into the trap when a very good baseball player leaves the Rockies. What about his splits, though? I don't think Trevor Story is going to have any problems hitting in Boston. I really don't.
He's going to be playing pepper with that fucking left field wall.
Yep. I think, he's going to fit in just fine. And I definitely agree to the point where he's going from having to be the man to, in a Boston lineup, he's in the middle. You know what I mean? So, like, that, I guess, coming full circle to the Kimbrel stuff, like, that changes a mindset going into a season. And a lot of guys actually thrive when that happens. I understand some guys need to be the man or whatever, but I really think Trevor Story is going to benefit from it.
And it's kind of the opposite what K-Fidds was talking about with Chris Bryant. Like, Chris Bryant goes to Colorado. It's like, I want to build this team.
Yes.
I want to win. I'm a winner. And I'm going to show it. I'm going to show up in Colorado, and these motherfuckers going to be winners too.
Yeah, check the resume.
Ramil Tapia, you're going to be a winner.
Yep, check the resume. You know, and then the Dodgers are just a video game with
dumb
trades turned off and like all that. I mean, how do you just get Freddie Freeman? They have Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts on the same team.
They told Max Muncy, "Hey, get your ass a second. We have Freddie Freeman now. Yeah. I would murder for Max Muncy. Like, he's a really good player on the Dodgers. Like, he's an also-ran, and they're doing this with their former MVP, who is like 25, struggling mightily, and Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, mightily. Like, he
fell off the table.
Yeah, it's when the Sox played them in spring trade. Like, he's not even swinging in like the same stratosphere as the ball anymore. Like, it's just, I don't know if he's just that fooled by pitches or what. It's bad. And the thing with the Dodgers is, you sit here and you talk about the Dodgers and you're talking about Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. You say those names before you even say Trey Turner.
Yes, who might be the best of them. And is going to be the highly coveted free agent this offseason. This next offseason.
Trey Turner's so good.
God damn it.
Big Trey Turner guy. I don't know, Fidds, you got any other teams in the NL?
I mean, obviously, you have the Dodgers, but I mean, it really does. The NL West is going to be fun to watch, I think. Although San Diego's in this weird window. I feel bad for them in a sense. I really don't feel bad for them, but I do.
No, that's Herb's second team. No, that's Herb's NL squad.
They did it to themselves, K-Fidds. I know why you feel bad for them. They did it to themselves.
So that's a bummer. I want them to win. Again, living in Vegas, I am. I do, guys, you did know I live in Vegas. So
you mentioned it.
Maybe once or twice. But I am so tired of Dodger fans dropping their junk on the table everywhere I turn here in Vegas. So it'd be nice to have San Diego or somebody just, snip, because it's been like 6 years. It's the Cubs. When the Cubs are in the window, it's fine. But now the Cubs are dog shit, and I got to listen to the Dodger fans. And so Padres would be great. Anybody in the West would be great, obviously. But I see it. I feel like it's going to be the Phillies and the Dodgers kind of eventually coming to a head at some point.
And then, there's a lot of very good teams. The Braves, the rich get richer there, man. They lost Freddie Freeman, but okay, we lose Freddie Freeman. Let's just bring in Chapman?
Olsen.
Yeah, Olsen. Chapman went to
Olsen. Sorry.
Yeah, let's bring in Olsen. Sure.
Sign him to a long-term deal. And they're gonna get back what's his name, Acuna. Eventually,
oh, yeah. That's like a free trade, basically. With baggage,
but it's weird. Like I don't even though they are the reigning World Series champions, I think the Phillies and the Mets are better than them for some reason.
They caught fire at the right time. They caught fire at the right time last year. They were that team the team that peaks at the right time wins, and they peaked at the right time.
Yeah, and like none of the pitchers except for Fried is like, okay, that's a stud. Like they have really good pitchers, just really above average pitching, and they've done well for themselves. But when I look at the Phillies lineup and then I look at the Mets rotation, the Mets rotation is dumb. It's just really dumb. Like, how do you do anything against the first two? Like you're going against DeGrom, fuck, and then you're going against Scherzer, fuck, and then downshift to Chris Bassett. He'll still get your ass out. And then Taijuan Walker. I mean, this team is real dumb. Real dumb. And I'm sure I'm missing the fifth starter, whoever he is, and he's probably great too.
Think of it as a 5-game series. In a 5-game series, you're going against DeGrom, so there's 2 games right away.
Yeah. And then you got to go against Chris Bassett, who's got playoff experience and as solid as it comes.
And then they got, like you said, Walker and Carlos.
Carrasco.
Yeah.
Former Indian.
Yeah,
Lindor, you got Alonso, you got Escobar, you got Nemo, you got McNeil, you got Marte. I mean, that's a
pretty good bullpen too.
Oh yeah, they got some Starling Marte this offseason. Jesus,
yeah. Mets are. I mean, I just always feel like, and I know it's super cliche that the Mets are going to Met, but
Daniel Palka, and they have lights out left-handed middle reliever setup man Jason Shreve.
Yeah, that's your boy. But
only time I'll root for the Mets ever is his short, whatever, his 3 outs, and then they can fuck off. Off.
Man, they're.
Oh, by the way, good news today out of the White Sox front. I totally forgot. Totally slipped my mind.
Yeah, boy.
Tanner McDougal threw flat grounds this morning. He's doing 45s now. So he's slowly ramping it up with that beer belly that he's grown. It's a delicious belly. Starting to look like his dad now, which is terrifying because his dad's a triple X, quadruple X behemoth. So he's gonna have some velo add too. So
I'm glad to hear he's getting there. We're rooting for that kid. We'll definitely keep tabs on him. I said it during the strike. This is setting up to be a very entertaining baseball season. With the teams we just mentioned, I know it might seem a little top heavy, but we just talked about like 10 different teams.
Yep.
Like that's more than enough to, if you're a lover of the game, like I know us 3 are and everyone watching, that's enough to like get you excited about the season. And I mean, the cherry on top, without a doubt, Fidds earmuffs, is the White Sox are going to be fucking good.
No,
I know. I'm just saying.
The White Sox. Here's the thing: is the best part is like baseball has so many teams that even if it's top heavy, that's going to play such great baseball. It's so great that Major League Baseball doesn't have a blackout policy with its games, so that everybody can enjoy all of the great baseball. Oh, wait,
yeah,
never mind.
And for you, Kevin, I don't think the Cubs are that far away.
They're not. They're a year out.
They can literally win this division.
Yeah,
I think
the table thing. Yeah, and the thing is with the Cubs, it's more just it's the bullshit that we were fed that they're not at least rebuilding, which they've done basically, and blow things up. They blew everything up. They did everything they said they were going to do. If they'd have just said this is the plan, I'm fine with them competing in a year from now. Like I'm good with it. Just don't bullshit us. Like that's the problem that I get. That was the problem that I had the most is obviously how they treated Chris, but the lip service. Just say, hey, look, it's in the best interest of the Cubs right now to really kind of rocket this thing a little bit, reassess, come back, and then in a year or two, we're going to be really good, and we're going to be back there. But instead, they were trying to sell tickets. They're trying to give you a lawyer speak. It's all plausible deniability shit, and that's the problem that I have with the Cubs stuff. But they're not going to be bad. They're not going to be. I mean, again, I'm a huge Seiya Suzuki. I'm so stoked to see Seiya Suzuki play. He hit his first jack today and his first hit as a Cub, and it's gonna take a while for him to figure it out. And he may not be an all-star, but he's gonna be a solid baseball player for the Cubs. And those kind of guys are fun to watch because he plays a lot of different things well. And I love watching 5-tool guys play, guys that understand the game. That's enjoyable to me.
Well, and the Cubs too, though. You have a lot to look forward to. And Brendan Davis, the kid from Mount Carmel.
Yep. Oh, Ed Howard.
Ed Howard. I mean, there's guys
last year in Myrtle Beach. He was not good when I saw him, but he turned into good.
Yeah,
Pete Crow Armstrong. I mean, it's just weird. I thought we were never going to have to look to the minor leagues as our main source of entertainment ever again.
But I think, I think the people are sleeping on the Cubs. Like that rotation, while not excellent, Kyle Hendricks at the top of a rotation, I'll take. Marcus Stroman, the second guy. I don't know when Wade Miley's going to be pitching. Alec Mills and Drew Smyly. That's a solid bunch of 2s and 3s there. If Marcus Stroman's not a 1.
I'm not a huge fan of Mills in the same rotation as a Hendricks, at least in the same series. Because
but they're a little farther away. You
got to split those guys with maybe break them up with a Smyly.
Yes, that was the problem last year when you had Zach Davies too on the team, all the same type of pitcher. But like, as White Sox fans, we don't I know my guy Zo is a Nick Magical guy. I don't know if you still are, but
I hope he does well. But he's not my A1 anymore because he plays for another team.
I don't think that he is a bad player. I think he's an excellent hitter, but I think he's a dumb player. His baseball IQ is not at the level that they promised me.
Right.
Now, if the Cubs see something and that just changes, Nick Magical is going to be a fan favorite for you guys. At second base, you got shortstop is Andrelton Simmons or Nico Horner. You have a team where Seiya Suzuki is the star and Patrick Wisdom's the DH. You have a team where if you run into 90 percentile games, which is really tough for everybody to be performing on a 90 percentile, but Wilson Contreras is a good hitter. Frank Schwindel showed last year he's a good hitter. Now, can he do it in the second year? That team can catch fire, and I know the Brewers have a better rotation and probably a better lineup, but Brewers not going to go and run and hide. Neither are the Cardinals, especially with the Flaherty stuff. I think the Cubs, with the other two teams in the Central not competing at all, could be in the mix for the NL Central. I would not be surprised at September if the Cubs are competing. Not at all.
And you didn't mention fan favorite Clint Frazier, who if that dude just
could turn it around, dude.
They've just got a lot of question marks, and that's the thing is you hate going into the season with question marks. Now, if everybody pans out, the Cubs can be a very good team. But to me, it's a dangerous risk to bet on Schwindel. I think Patrick Wisdom, me and Pete, Aloha Mr. Hand on Tatum Glove talk about it all the time. We think that Wisdom's been figured out. Like, I think we're both in agreement that Wisdom is going to have had a really, really productive offseason of adjustments, because why he was a 29-year-old rookie has finally become a little bit obvious in the final 2 months of the season. He was 3 months. He was bad.
Was he not hit sliders, not hit curveballs?
He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He was getting beat out of hands. He was getting beat up under the hands. He was getting beat soft away. Everything was they figured him out after they started getting a bigger sample size. And I'm worried about that with Schwindel. The one bonus I think about with Schwindel is I got to watch him here with the Aviators when he was playing for the AAA for the Athletics. And he was a part of a really good lineup. He was the 5th or 6th best player on that lineup. But I loved watching the dude hit. Like, he's a hitter. He has a good approach. So I feel like he has less of a gamble risk. He's going to be a guy that I think I see as a DH, but I feel like a guy like him is more like a 10th guy to me. So it's a question mark, but again, if it works, it works. I'm a big Nico Horner nut. I'm a Nico Horner stan big time. And I like Nick Magical. I liked him when he was with the White Sox, so I'm okay there. Jason Hayward is a ground ball double play every time out. I'm not sure what they mean. Just put him in the dugout and
it's
sit him
a
in
sunk
the
cost.
Yep,
you're paying it. Who cares?
Waive your trade clause, and you can go play. Until then, you're going to go sit in the corner and just chill, because we don't need you right now. I mean, but I love. I mean, Nico. I'm a huge Nico. Like, Nico is my guy.
You think he's your guy because you like him, or he's your guy because you think he's going to be better than projected?
I think he's my guy because the way he plays the game. That's when you hear the way Chris talks about certain guys in the clubhouse, Nico was one of his favorite guys. So he's also, again, a more mature guy, a hard worker. He puts in the time. He's first one there, last one to leave kind of mentality. I love those kind of players. He's not the biggest guy on the field, but he's consistent when he's healthy. And so you put him and Magical together. I think Magical, if the baseball IQ stuff manifests, he's going to wear it the way that I felt like Javi's lack of baseball IQ the same way. I can't deal with that. That one that'll drive me apeshit. But his approach, I love listening to Magical Talk hitting. I love he's got some T drills that he's been working on and stuff, and I love that kind of stuff. Is great for not just as a player, but it's great for the game because we need more teaching of the game amongst the games instead of just we have a lot of times with broadcasts you get personalities. It's an old dog that everyone loves. They're not teaching the game. They're not breaking things down saying, look, this is why they do this. Most of it's like, hey, back when I was playing for so-and-so, Wade Boggs drank 47 beers on the flying over. It's like, who gives a fuck? We have a low baseball IQ problem in this country with the game as it is with the younger levels because it's not being taught as well at the younger level too. It needs to be a bigger part of it. That's why Steve Stone is the freaking god of color commentators because that man teaches the game. I think I probably learned 60% of what I know about baseball from listening to Steve Stone my entire life growing up. Just that's the kind of stuff that they need.
I think that's
it's very fair.
Yeah, it's very fair.
As a grown man, 43, I look forward to listening to Steve and Jason talk because it's firstly entertaining. They have a good product. Secondly, I learn about baseball every single time I turn on a White Sox game. And I know that Dusty and Moise Alou got him off the team. I was like, when he came to the White Sox, I was like, that's a fucking win. That's a huge win. Like, I would not have this guy off my team. The last thing I'll do is have him off my team because this guy is a teacher of baseball. Understands baseball at a different level than other people do. And can explain it. And that's like understanding it and then explaining it in a digestible bite is two different things, and Steve Stone is a genius at that.
We need more Tom Houses, less A-Rods.
Jesus, yes. Because on that note, we went
Roger
over
Bosard.
Herb, I can't thank you enough, man. You were extremely generous with your time tonight, and we really appreciate it. And again, for everybody that stuck around to this end of this broadcast here or whatever, or the podcast, make sure you're following the CHGO, the White Sox page, the main page. Make sure you follow Herb.
Blackhawks page.
The Blackhawks. We don't no free ads, Herb.
Cody's on my shit list for today.
Cody's on my beard, and that show was great.
Because Cody had Cap on today, so Cody's grounded for a second, but he'll drink some mayonnaise and I'll forgive him. So.
But going into the season, they're going to be doing. Are you doing pregame too, Herb?
We're doing pregame and postgame for. I won't say each, but we're doing for most White Sox games. So we're doing a Sunday through Thursday thing. So our Sunday podcast or post game would be ready for Monday's podcast. So sense. You can listen to all of them. And so on and so forth.
Well, that makes sense. So there you go. Go to still check us out on Wednesday nights, but pre and post game, go over to CHGO. Make sure you support them. Herb, again, thank you, man. We really appreciate you coming on, and I always appreciate you just being a text or a DM away so I can run stuff by you, man. I really do. And so for Herb, K-Fidds, I'm Zo. This is the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. We will check you guys all out next week. And